Hello and welcome to Kits and Wagers. We're talking game week 24 in the Premier League. The Premier League is back. There's only one match over the weekend, and now we have almost a full slate. I think there's 9 matches between Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm joined by Chris Owen. He is in his upstairs winter laboratory. Welcome to the show. It's Monday. You had COVID last week. Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling better. Had a good recipe of Tylenol PM, and a lot of sleep for about three nights in a row. I caught like 10 hours of sleep, and I was good to go by Friday. I know that's not the case for everybody, so thankful for that, and just laid low this weekend, and watched some FA Cup. I watched that Luton Town game on Saturday. That was pretty good. Watched a couple other games, and yeah, just generally laid low. Played some FIFA. Nothing to
Yeah.
report. So good to bounce back that quickly, and shout out to Modern Medicine.
Shout out to Modern Medicine, yes. So the first part of kits, we got what are we wearing? Is this some kind of Liverpool third kit? What's going on here? Oh,
No,
okay,
no,
okay, there it
this is
is.
a rerun here, but I just got my Dortmund training top on here. Coincidentally, I was in a work shirt earlier and put a t-shirt on. Got a little chilly, it's still wintertime here, and just this was what came about, and then I was like, okay, well, I got to do a podcast, so we'll keep this sucker on. No real reason behind it other than I wanted to be toasty, and this thing's pretty toasty.
Yeah,
What
other
it
than
looks like
I
you
think,
got looks like
yeah,
you
I
got
think I was
something
gonna
going
say
on there.
I think Dortmund just lost this weekend. What was it? 5-2. They lost at home to Leverkusen. Not a good look, but
No, tough
maybe that
look.
training top will help them.
Doubt
But
it, but hopefully.
yeah, I'm going back to I think I wore this earlier in this season. So we got Aston Villa, Gabby Agbanlahor jersey. So I've been saying on recent podcasts that Aston Villa they're gonna turn things up here in the second half of the season, and we're actually gonna talk about their match today. So I figured I had something else lined up, but just go with Aston Villa, and maybe it's not my best bet, but I think I just in the mood of the Premier League because I think everything else I'm going to pull out is going to be non-Premier League, but we'll get to those in future weeks. But so the first match we are actually before that we have to talk about our best bets here. Before I mean, so if you saw our tweet, both of our best bets hit for the FA Cup, and that's kind of what we said. After that show, it was like these odds are kind of incorrect, and it feels like we're getting value on them. Turns out we were correct. I took the over 2.5 on the Everton match. Ended up being 4-1, easy win. Chris took the something, and he won. What did you
I
take?
think it was I took the something. You're right. I think I took the under on Wolverhampton.
Yeah,
I
the
took the
Wolverhampton
under two
were
and a half
home.
on well, yeah, it was under 2.5 minus 125. I forgot who the heck they were playing.
Yeah, that's right. I was tweeting
But
about that match. So when we did our show, what was that? It must have been
oh yeah.
Thursday. It was
Yep.
minus 120, minus 125 for over 2.5 goals between Wolves and Norwich. During the show, we said it should be, if this was a Premier League match, it'd be minus 160, minus 170. We laid all that out. Turns out Saturday morning, it was minus 170. So if you took that bet during our show or after you listen to our show, you probably gain a bit more value. But otherwise, coming off
Yeah.
those best bet wins, Chris is also coming off a game week 23 best bet win. So we had a couple winners, and we're going to try and hit him some more here. So the first match we'll be talking about a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday match. We're first talking about, of course, Frankie Lamps. Everton are playing at Newcastle. The odds are pretty close here. Newcastle home plus 160 to win, Everton plus 180, and the draw plus 240. All pretty even there. And then you don't get much here with the goals. Over 2.5 goals, minus 110. Under 2.5 goals, minus 115. So it's first league match for Frank Lampard here. Technical relegation battle. Compared from the weekend, Newcastle didn't play in the FA Cup. Everton will be getting back Dominic Calvert-Lewin. and they will also be getting Dele Ali and Donny van de Beek. So they're basically, if Calvert-Lewin starts, they could be getting, 3 new starters from this game compared to, the 4-1 win against Brentford they had. So what do we look at first? How much are we putting into, these new additions? And I mean, they played in a 3-4-3, I believe, on Saturday, so they could do that again. But Lampard could go with his usual 4-3-3 with Ali and Van de Beek in there. So Everton they're suddenly healthy and they suddenly have options here. So do we like them at plus 180 to win or what?
First and foremost, it's interesting to see Newcastle favored in this. I mean, I know they're home, but they're slightly favored over Everton. They're plus 160. I try to when I look at these games, at least get a try to weigh the form of each team and see if one team is playing slightly better than the other. But in the past 6 matches, Newcastle have taken a total of 5 points out of 6. They've won 1, drawn 2, and lost 3. While Everton haven't fared much better. They've won 1, drawn 1, and then lost 4. So neither team playing great. I think on paper, when you look at the two teams, Newcastle obviously have added a couple of players, but Everton really did some nice work in the transfer market here in the month of January. And I like that. I mean, Dele Ali, when he's on form, which we haven't maybe seen in 2 years, he's quite the player, can pull the strings from any part of the field. And then Donny van de Beek, somewhat. I mean, like, we all know who he is, but we never necessarily saw like what kind of player he can be, because Manchester United just had no idea how to use him. They were putting him out on the right. They never really gave him that ability to kind of like sit in the middle of the park and try to play the ball around, win tackles, blah blah blah. So I think on paper, Everton, they have a really good starting 11, like maybe the best that we've seen out of them in a better part of a year here. So I'm interested to see if Dominic Calvert-Lewin will play. In my mind, aside from Richarlison, he's their best player. His whole season has been really kind of sidelined by injury, and he's never necessarily gotten up to speed that we thought he could, or at least in comparison to last season. So if he plays, I really like Everton here, going away to Newcastle and at least taking a point, if not all 3 here. And my best bet will be involved in this a little bit later in the show, but I really do like Everton to go out here and at least take a point away from Newcastle.
Yeah, I do like the over in this match. It was my best bet a few days ago. And just in terms of Frank Lampard, I'll give the stat again. So while Lampard was at Chelsea, his matches that he managed, they averaged 2.95 goals per match. And then under Thomas Tuchel, they averaged 2 goals per match. So that just shows, how attacking minded he is as a manager. And that kind of showed up in that first match. The only thing that I'm kind of worried about with the over is, so Newcastle's games have been a bit lower scoring than as one would think from what a Eddie Howe team would put out here. So Newcastle, their last match 1-0 at Leeds, and then they had 1-1 against Watford. They lost 1-0 against Cambridge United in the FA Cup, 1-1 against Manchester United, and then before that, they're playing some of the top teams, so it's kind of hard to look at that. But so a lot of that, I mean, I wonder if some of that is like they added Kieran Trippier. He's been around for a couple matches, and now they're going to have Matt Target. He's probably going to be playing left back, the former Aston Villa left back. And then, there's a chance Bruno Guimaraes is getting his first start with the team. I don't know. He probably just got to the team yesterday or today in terms of training, so he may not start, but he's just another body in there for him. So maybe it's kind of worrying, but I just think from a manager perspective, like both these guys kind of want to get the goals, and I think that's the main thing to get the over 2.5 there. It's minus 110, but you'll touch on that later. So
yeah, definitely going to talk that on best bet. But yeah, no, should be an interesting game, especially with both teams like really having hit the transfer market pretty hard. As you mentioned, Newcastle also added a number of new players, and I think in the perspective of looking at what they were starting in the past, in the beginning, in the first half of the season, they improved in some pretty specific areas, like outside back, added a new forward, added to another midfielder too. So they definitely look better both teams, funny enough, they find themselves in that relegation scrap. So Everton's slightly above Newcastle. I think it's three or 4 points. So it was a pretty big game here, and I think Everton as a whole, they're not as in danger as Newcastle is for relegation, but I think they're both kind of fighting that fight right now.
Yeah, for sure. So next day, Wednesday, there are 4 matches. It's the busiest day of Game Week 24. We're going to talk about, of course, I got the jersey on. Aston Villa home against Leeds. Aston Villa are minus 130 to win. Leeds are plus 330 to win. The draw is plus 300. So over 2.5 goals is minus 145. So expected close to 3 goals in this one. And then under 2.5 goals is plus 115. Otherwise, injuries look pretty good for both these teams outside of Patrick Bamford. He's got some plantar fasciitis or something going on. So he's probably going to be out for another month, maybe. It's a tricky injury. But otherwise, Leeds are pretty healthy. So this is, I don't know, what do we think is going to happen in this one? 2 teams. I got the Villa shirt on here, but Leeds have been kind of just I don't know, one of the hard teams here because I think it was the Game Week 23 show. I picked Leeds as my best bet to win, and they lost at home to Newcastle. So what do we think they're going to do here? I'm looking at the results. So they lost one, lost one, lost. Okay. So, they're going back and forth for a little bit, but they did not play over the weekend. So I guess neither did Aston Villa. So these teams are plenty rested. So what do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of form, Leeds, they've won 2 out of their past 6. Not doing okay, but not like okay, these guys are in hitting their top form. Meanwhile, Aston Villa, they've won 3 of their past 6, so a little bit higher up the table. They've performed, pretty well over the past month, and I think even when we discussed them, maybe say a month or 2 ago, you looked at their schedule and you're like, okay. You mentioned like, okay, Aston Villa's got a decent schedule here down the stretch. Can they string together and like work their way up the table? I think we talked about a little bit about it during their futures bet. I like Villa here. They're playing at home. They've been good. They're tight defensively. If Patrick Bamford once again misses out, him and Dominic Calvert-Lewin have been in like that same situation where they just haven't been able to like string together games. And like we for both clubs last season, they were, as those players went, we saw Everton and Leeds respectively go. But without the goals, I think Leeds are going to struggle here on the road to Aston Villa. Would be nice to get Bamford back, but the biggest question mark for me, and I think right now we have Rafinha as a question mark, but it sounds like he will play. If he plays, Leeds still have a shot, but I still think Aston Villa, just given that they also added some really nice pieces here in the transfer market too. Coutinho's added, I think, a goal and assist since he's joined. And they added a left back in Lucas Digne, and they're pretty healthy overall. Ollie Watkins, playing well, and so they still have Danny Ings as a backup. So I think Villa here playing at home have enough quality to beat Leeds here. And there's and I was kind of looking for some value around. There's not much in the double chance, but I'm curious, or at least for Aston Villa, I'm curious here. You can get Leeds on a double chance, which is Leeds win or tie at plus 105. Would you entertain that at all?
Probably not. I like you. I like Aston Villa to win here. It's minus 130. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to take it in a shutout. That's just not, doesn't feel safe. But like I'm looking at the recent results for Aston Villa. So at home, basically, the times that in their past 5 home matches, I'll say. So their last one, 2-2 draw against Manchester United. Previous 3-1 loss to Chelsea, and they beat Leicester City 2-1. Before that, 2-1 loss against Manchester City, then they beat Brighton 2-0. So like they're playing all like Chelsea, both Manchesters at home. It's like a super difficult schedule here, and now the drop of competition. Like I think that's going to be like if you're looking just at by recent results. Like I think the drop in competition is a boost, and then you throw in the addition of Coutinho and Digne in there, but I mean, even more than that, like Douglas Luiz, he's been in and out of the lineup for a little bit. John McGinn was recently suspended, and maybe he had a recent issue. But even, like you said, like Watkins, Ings, like those guys, they've been in and out. But as I said, previous shows, like I like Villa coming into the final few months of the season because they're finally healthy. And sure, you can get Leeds, win or draw, but they're just too unpredictable. Like that 1-0 loss against Newcastle playing at home. I don't want to bet on that. I mean, it was after their 3-2 win at West Ham, so it's just like super unpredictable. But I I like Villa. I'm not sure where I'd go in terms of the over under. This could be like a 2-1 match, but it could also be a 2-0 match or 1-0. So I'm not sold on goals. I think both teams can score, but without Bamford, like Leeds just haven't been scoring this season.
Yeah, and you mentioned the over. There's not a ton of value in the over until you go to 3.5, and that's plus 175. The over 2.5 is minus 145, so probably avoid that. And I just don't really feel confident in going in any of the unders. Like the value on the under is under 2.5 for plus 115, but both teams, can find the back of the net. So there's not a ton there that I would entertain either.
Yeah, it's just anything involving Leeds is tricky to look at, I guess we could say.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Thursday brings us to Liverpool, and they are home against Leicester City. So Liverpool minus 370 to win. Leicester plus 900 to win. Draws plus 550, over 3.5 goals, minus 115, under 3.5 goals, minus 110. Again, that's 3.5 goals, not 2.5 goals. A lot of that is because of Liverpool's offense, and a lot of that is because of Leicester City's defense. Leicester City lost 4-1, I want to say, over the weekend against Nottingham Forest. So that's kind of what their back line presents. But I guess for you here is, minus 370. Obviously, we're not going to take that, but how much are we putting into just the recent results between Liverpool and Leicester? Because for some reason, it seems like Leicester, they have like Liverpool's number. I mean, to an extent, maybe like in the League Cup. I guess before that, so February 2021, Leicester won 3-1 at home. In the League Cup, December 22nd, ended up being a 3-3 match. And after that, December 28th, so less than a week later, Leicester won 1-0 at home. And I guess I want to read off Leicester City's team in this match that they won 1-0 in. They started Wilfred Ndidi and Daniel Amarty at center back. And they started Dewsbury Hall, Samare, Chidowry in the midfield. In that match, like Liverpool had pretty much the regular team. And I don't know. I can't remember exactly what happened in this match, but it didn't. I did not correctly pick this one because it kind of came out of nowhere. Um, like, is this anything like what's going on here? I guess I'll just start with that. What do you think's going on here? Is Leicester have Liverpool's number or something?
I would say I don't know. I mean, what they won the last two Premier League matches, that 1-0, and then last season 3-1. And then Liverpool did win that League Cup match in penalties. Take that for whatever it is. I think what I do expect in this game is goals. Like we are going to be missing Jamie Vardy for Leicester City, so that's noteworthy because I feel like I've watched Jamie Vardy find the back of the net probably each game that he's faced Liverpool for the better part of 5 years. But so without him, I feel a little bit better. He did play in that 1-0 match. That must have been right before he got injured. I guess for me, the question, I'm going to put this question on you here. We are getting about the same odds. The over 3.5 is minus 115. The under 3.5 is minus 110. So, Adam, would you rather take the over 3.5 or the under 3.5? About the same odds, just a hair different.
If I didn't look at, if we just throw out that 1-0 result, if we throw that out, I would take the over. But I don't know if it's maybe Liverpool is at home, maybe that result doesn't matter, but like I remember being all over Liverpool in that match. I probably took the over 3.5. I took goals. I took Liverpool to win, and like Leicester started in a starting 11 that they probably haven't used since. They probably haven't used ever before. Like they have these three midfielders. Ndidi, he's a defensive midfielder playing center back. Like they're out of center backs. And I don't know how they kept Liverpool from scoring. And now like is Salah going to start? Mane is probably not going to start. We saw him partying yesterday and on Sunday, or actually today, Monday, it was the party was. So like those guys aren't going to be there. We've already talked about it. Sure, they've had success without them, but it's still something. Mane and Salah
Mm-hmm.
aren't there, so it's still something. So yeah, just given that other result, I may lean under 3.5 goals. And this could be a match that goes 4-2. And, it'd just be like, okay, well, that's the kind of thing that can happen. But I don't know. Maybe, Leicester just takes a more defensive approach because they know they don't have the bodies just to, keep up maybe on the scoreboard. So that they try and take that route. But like you're getting, like this is under 3.5 goals. So, I mean, you could still get a 3-0 Liverpool win and call it a day, but it's tough just because they got that prior result, that 1-0 result that kind of came out of nowhere. So maybe it's something to do with Brendan Rodgers and playing Liverpool. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, it doesn't sound like Salah's going to be back in time. So, throw those anytime goal scoring odds out the door for that one. But if I was to pick, I mean, Diego Jota's been in great form for Liverpool. He's at plus 125 if you are the type of person who enjoys a good anytime goal score. That's the only other one I'd throw out there. But I still think I'd take the over here. Liverpool have scored. They've been involved in games that are just like feels like 4 goals a game. And even looking back, I don't really take a ton into the cut matches just because those are sometimes a one off. But like January 2nd, 2-2 against Chelsea, they scored 3 against Brentford, 3-1 against Crystal Palace the match before. So I think I would entertain the over, but that's just because that is Liverpool with their 2 big studs, but they still have been able to score goals even without them. It's been a bit like Fabinho's knocking in goals all of a sudden. So I think I take the over, but it's really kind of a toss up, especially, and the odds makers think so too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
for me,
say.
the one I take
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
Diego Jota plus 125.
All right, so I found some. I'm gonna got a better idea for you. So if you don't want to take the under 3.5 goals, why not just do over 5.5 at plus 450, or over maybe 6.5 is getting high, but that's plus 1,000. Over 5.5, even over 4.5 is plus 205. Like that's a 3-2 match. It's a 4-1 match. Like if you think there's going to be goals, I think there's going to be a lot of goals. Like that's the kind of thing that happens, with Liverpool. And I guess even more so with Leicester, just because when they allow goals, they're also attacking. Like Leicester, they don't get held scoreless is kind of the thing. So it's either going to be low scoring or both teams are going to score a bunch. It's kind of what I'm leaning at here.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Leicester's recent results, like you have the 3-3 game against Liverpool, and then the 3-2 match against Tottenham recently. That's just how they're playing. They got the 6-3 game against Manchester City. Like they have all these games with a bunch of goals because of their defense. And it didn't happen in their last meeting. They somehow got the clean sheet, but if their backline struggles like it did against Nottingham Forest over the weekend, Liverpool is going to be scoring 4 or 5 goals maybe, and then you could probably throw 2 in there from Iheanacho and Daka or Madison or whoever. Like Liverpool have attackers, they're beat up on the back line. And I think if you want the over, I'd say go with big goals instead of just the minus 115, 3.5 goals.
Yeah, that makes sense. Make it worth your while.
There you go. Is that your best bet?
No, that is not my best bet.
Okay.
I'm gonna avoid it just given that they lost 1-0 last game. But I like your thought process there.
All right, so I guess it is best bet time. and I'll start it off here. So I feel like I've taken Norwich with one of my best bets before. It was early on, and I assume it didn't work out. But going back to the Norwich, going back to the Canaries, Dean Smith has this team playing fairly well. I'll say fairly well. So I don't know if you know how well Norwich are playing, but they've won 4 of their last 5 matches. Do you believe me? 4 of their last 5 matches. Norwich, Norwich have won 4 of their last 5.
Could we get a fact check? Can we call in like an independent contractor to do a fact check on Adam's facts?
I'm reading out.
But I guess I believe you.
All right, so this dates back to January 9th. 1-0 at Charlton Athletic. After that, 3 days later, they lost 2-0 at West Ham. We can excuse that. West Ham, great team.
Top 4 side, right? Or top 5?
Yeah, who cares about that one? After that, home against Everton, 2-1. That may have been what knocked out Rafa Benitez. I don't have the exact date there. After that, Watford, 3-0 at Watford. Josh Sargent brace. Yep, that's right. Last weekend, 1-0 at Wolves in the FA Cup. 1-0 at one of the 2 best defensive teams in the league. Norwich won. So what are these odds here? Like, what's going on with these odds? That's the thing I don't know about. But this should be like an even match. Like,
yeah, that's a team in form.
There's no respect is what it's coming down to.
Yeah, let's put some respect on their name. All 13 goals of their Premier League season,
They're not, the odds aren't taking form into account. That's kind of what I'm leading to here.
Should.
Like, Norwich are plus 250. Crystal Palace are plus 115 to win. That doesn't make sense to me. This should be closer to like the Everton Newcastle match. So, okay, Crystal Palace here. They have a couple recent wins, but guess what? They both came in the FA Cup. Hartlepool United, Millwall. I don't care about those. Okay, recent matches. I'll just say all away matches this season. They have 1 win, 2-0 at Manchester City. No one can explain it. No one knows what happened. Otherwise, they have, what do we got? 4 draws and 5 losses. One of those losses, 1-0 against Leeds. It's probably their worst away loss. They gave up 3 goals to Burnley. 3 goals to Burnley? 1-1 at Brighton. It's a tough schedule, okay? Now, I'm looking at the schedule. It's tough.
Schedule.
A lot of tough games, okay?
Yeah.
But, anytime you give up 3 goals to Burnley, that's when you know you're not playing well away from home. And that's what I'm getting at here. No, I'm not. I'm not taking Norwich plus 250 to win. I'm not crazy, okay? I'm not going to do that. We're going to take draw no bet, simple draw no bet, plus 145. We get the win. Take it home, plus 145. If it's a draw, we're getting our money back. If you want to go, a little more crazy, actually not crazy, you get less money back. Minus 130 is the winner draw. So that's kind of why I lean towards the draw no bet. Let's just go with the Norwich win, plus 145 for the draw no bet, though. That was a long rant. That was a long rant. Do you like it?
Maybe okay. I might ship you a short award for the Kits and Wagers longest rant of the season here, and that was for Norwich City. So I'm gonna get some claps off here. But yeah, wow, I was dubious. I knew Norwich had won a couple games, but I mean, you talked it into existence, and I like him this weekend. So I'll support you in that bet. That is a Norwich City side who have scored 13 goals in not so many matches this year. So in 22 matches. So I mean, we're looking for maybe a 1-0 win there.
Look at their form, all right? Look at their form.
Yeah, you're right. 5
goals, goals, wins. What else do you need?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, now that we, our listeners are totally informed on Norwich, I I'm going to go back to a game that we already talked about just to beat a dead horse here. And my best bet, I'm not going to, no rants for me, just going to get straight to it here. Everton, Newcastle, we discussed. I'm going to take the over 2.5 goals on that game. That is minus 110. Looking back at the previous matches involving both teams, the previous match was 2-0, but other than that, it's been 2-1, 2-2, another 2-1, and then 3-2, and then dating 2018 it was 1-1. So like 4 of the past 5 games have been over 2.5 goals. I think we cash at minus 110 for a tidy profit on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon in the United Kingdom. So that's where I'm at. And then the other thing too is that Everton, as I was looking this up, Everton haven't won a game since September in the Premier League. So just keep fast fact. I was like, holy crap. They're not very good. So, but anyways, over 2.5. Let's get some goals. Let's take Everton and Everton Newcastle for some goals. So that's where I'm at.
There we go. All right. Excellent. All right. So yeah, I that was gonna be my best bet, and then I just couldn't deny Norwich. But I like that one too. I wrote about it. If you want to check out the article, rotowire.com. I wrote the usual betting article for game week 24. But just looking at just overall with Everton, like you're throwing in Lampard here, we got. They had 3 goals in their Norwich match, 5 goals against Brighton, 4 goals against Crystal Palace. Like they got tons of matches with a lot of goals here, and it's not like Brighton, Norwich are high scoring teams here. So, like throw Lampard in there. As I said earlier, I'm worried about Newcastle the way they're playing better defensively, but I think the Lampard effect is strong, and let's ride the Lampard effect going into game week 24. But do we have anything else here to talk about after?
Nothing to know. It's good that we got like past these cup matches, past December, which was kind of nutty. Now we just get into the thick of it. Let's get our hands dirty. Let's do what we can. Hopefully, we both went 2 for 2 last week. I'm on a 2-week heater on the best bets, so. Hoping to make it 3.
Yeah, the games are only keeping up. So we got these midweek matches, and then we got a full weekend of matches. So we'll be back later in the month, and then it's Champions League, and then more league matches, and Champions League, and more league matches. It's just constant there. So, but that's what we got for game week 24. Let's read back here. So I took Norwich. Draw no bet plus 145. They are home against Crystal Palace. Chris took the over on Everton and Newcastle. That's over 2.5 goals minus 110. And that will do it for Game Week 24. Thank you for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. If you're watching on YouTube, I've been using, I got a lineups page here. This lineups page has everything. Like if you're listening on podcast form, go to our site, rotowire.com. So a soccer trial, free 10-day trial, no credit card required. But you can go to the lineup page, and it's incredible. Look at this. We got projected 11s that are, spot on. Includes injuries, includes odds. Yes, right here on the page. Odds for every match, weather for every match, everything. So check those pages out. I usually use them myself. But Chris, that's it. Anyone, thanks for listening, and we'll see you. We'll see you later in the week. That's Kits and Wade.